Welcome everyone to another edition of Football 101. I'm your host, Joshua De Matos, and it's the start of a brand new season, not only of Football 101, but of football in general. The 2021-2022 season has started just a few weeks ago, and we're here for the next half an hour. We're going to talk everything football. And as usual, I'm not alone on the set. I'm joined by Nikolai Madri and Jeremy Bridgenat. You know, Jeremy is our Serie A expert, and Nikolai is our La Liga expert. So we're looking for a Premier League expert. So if you're a Premier League expert, get in contact with us. But for now, all of us are going to talk about the Premier League. That's where we have to start things off. The biggest matchup this past weekend had to be Arsenal versus Chelsea. And Nikolai, on paper, Chelsea has the better team. They have the main big striker now, Lukaku, and it finished 2-0 in favour of Chelsea.
Chelsea have a target man now, and not only just a target man, they have one of the men of the season, exactly, last season. So, you know, they're playing so much beautiful football. I mean, they're playing free-flowing football. Tuchel is actually imposing his playing style and what he actually likes about football and the kind of structure he'd like to see the team play. So yeah, kudos to them. Now they have not only a good side on the field, but they also have a good squad depth. So you know that they would be pushing on later on to the season, giving City that challenge, I guess, for the title this season.
Right. And I know, Jeremy, Lukaku was a member of, well, the Serie A committee, if you want to call it that, last year, and he did a really good job at Inter Milan, but he is back at Chelsea now. And what do you think that Lukaku really brings to this squad? A lot of people are saying, you know, he was a Manchester United player, he never had his first touch, and some even say he still doesn't have it. But he liked that first goal in the way he held up the play, got the wingers into it, and just tapped it in the back of the net. It shows that he probably has his first touch back.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it seems like Conte really got the best of Lukaku, and he has turned him into this complete striker. Everybody wants him. He's so dependable, he's reliable, he's taking on defenders. And with his strength, you know, he's such a gem to have on a team. And I think Chelsea can go a really long way with Lukaku on their side this season.
Yeah, definitely. And Nikolai, one thing I wanted to say though, is it that we cut in Arsenal a little bit too much slack, because they did have about 6 players of their starting 11 that wasn't on the squad?
I mean, Josh, this is the beginning of the season, and each squad, everybody would want to get started on the right foot. Give and take. The Arsenal squad 2 losses in 2 games against, especially that first game against Brentford, right? That, you know, they newly promoted. You would expect that, you know, Arsenal would go out there and get the 3 points no matter what squad that they feel, but it wasn't meant to be. And then they run into the Chelsea team that, you know, they could damage any defense.
Right.
Their attacking force. And, you know, we'd only left to see what is left in the season with the Chelsea side. And, you know, Arsenal, I guess if they start off the season rock bottom this time, they could only start climbing the table, right?
Yeah, that's true. And one thing I want to say, though, I mean, the next game up next for Arsenal, guys, is Manchester City. So it certainly doesn't get any easier for Arteta. And as you mentioned, Nikolai, you know, we've seen that it's 2 games now, 2 defeats, no goals scored, up against the Premier League champions. Could it even be, may I say that, at the end of this City game, he could be getting the sack this early in the Premier League season?
Well, we're not sure about getting sacked just yet, but I mean, they could be looking at being bottom of the table come the following week after match day 3. So, you know, that's worrying signs. I mean, they invested a lot of money into this squad, but they're a young team. It's a very, very young squad, this Arsenal team, and they spent a lot of money behind them. Maybe it's something for the future. Maybe they have a plan that only, I guess, that they're bored and they would understand that, you know, what it takes to build from scratch. Yeah. And that is their plan. But I don't know. It's left to be seen. Other than that, they might just let him go and bring in Thierry Henry. You never know.
Well, Thierry Henry being an Arsenal legend, but as it pertains to him being a coach, he doesn't have... But then again, Arteta didn't have much and they brought him in.
Exactly. And I mean, like, you know, different players, you see they could just be inside a change room and then change into a coach. Like, so many past players became coaches, and, you know, he always showed that that want and that desire
Yeah.
in the dressing room. I mean, he had the assistant job with, the Belgium team at a point in time. So he might be looking to see what they have to offer. But as of now, Arteta knows he's in the hot water. He might be
boiling water, actually.
and he knows what it is like to be an assistant, especially in that City squad. So maybe he knows a trick or two to get around them and get their season up and going.
Yeah, definitely. Nice to see at the start of this Premier League, Crystal Palace has a new manager, Patrick Vieira, former Arsenal legend there as well. So Arsenal come away defeated in this game, 2-0. Chelsea come away victors. So let's move on to the next matchup. As we mentioned, Manchester City before, they came away victors by 5-0 against Norwich City. A very easy game, you could say, on paper, and as it pertains to the final scoreline for Manchester City. And the $100 million man gets his first goal for Manchester City.
Exactly. Josh, coming off of the first game where, they didn't get started properly and they want to get their season up and going, this was the best way to react and respond. Going out there and getting the 5-0 win and, letting the new man score and letting everybody, gel and go out there and feel that sense of accomplishment and, and get the season started. So I feel like City is only going to continue ramping up victories from here. I mean, we now talk about them facing Arsenal, and they know they'll be facing a down Arsenal. So, that they'll be looking to continue their run of form and stretch that into the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but when you look at it, 5-0, Manchester City winning this one. They didn't start off the campaign too well, previously being defeated by Tottenham Hotspur, but they scored 5 goals. So who needs Harry Kane when your team is scoring 5 goals like that?
Exactly. So you never know. Coming on to the latter end of the season, I think City have bigger objectives other than the Premier League. I think they're still looking at the Champions League, and maybe that's where the target man and Harry Kane might come in for them. But in terms of Spurs answering them last week, in terms of he said that was Harry Kane's team, but they always seem to beat him without Harry Kane. So it's nice to see. It's a nice little rivalry there. It's only left to be seen what will happen with Kane before the end of the season. So
yeah, we have about 7 days left before the transfer window closes. So I guess we will see. So as you mentioned, Harry Kane, we're going to move right into the Tottenham Hotspur game. They played Wolves and they came away victors by 1-0. And Mr. Harry Kane actually was on the bench, came on in the second half of this game. Didn't really have much of an impact, but regardless, Dele Alli scores a penalty. Spurs 2 wins out of 2, a great start to the season thus far. Nikolai, on the 1st of September, where's Harry Kane playing?
That's a very interesting question, Josh. He could just be right there in Spurs. And, City already made their main buy. He's already on the score sheet, and they'll be looking to see how they could, make do with the squad that they have. They have a very deep squad. But, Harry Kane might be the one to push for that transfer, because he know that they are the real title contenders going for it, and they'll be playing a lot of Champions League football and looking at the latter end of Champions League, and I'm sure that's what he is eyeing. So maybe he'll be the one to try to push for the exit before the transfer window closes.
Let me just bring Jeremy back into this conversation. Jeremy, if you are in Harry Kane's shoes, what are you going to do? You rather stay at, well, it's clear that he wants to move, but where do you think he will be come September 1st? A City player or a Tottenham player?
I think he may still be at Tottenham. I hope we don't see a Gareth Bale situation, play golf, collect a salary, because Harry Kane has so much to offer. But I think he stays.
All right, definitely. So there you heard it. Spurs fans, King Harry looks to be staying at Tottenham Hotspur. He has 3 years left in his contract, and that's one thing I always couldn't understand. His brother actually is his manager, and 3 years ago he signed a 6-year contract. 6 years. Normally at his age, 4 years, maybe 5, but you sign a 6-year contract. So it's really up to Tottenham if they want to let them go. And so far, Daniel Levy is not the type of person that wants to let his star players go. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking all things La Liga. Stay tuned.
You're watching ACTN, The Voice. Connect with ACTN The Voice on Facebook or Instagram at ACTN The Voice.
ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station.
Welcome back to Football 101. So as I mentioned before the break, we're going to talk La Liga. And we have Nikolai Madrid here with us. Nikolai, I see you're up in your Barca team.
Well, yeah, this is the squad. This is my team. I know we are deflated right now without our main guy. He left.
Who's that, Griezmann?
Not really Griezmann. The little magician, they call him Messi. He's no longer a part of the squad. Shocking for us, but I mean, we know it would have come someday. But
yeah,
we didn't
this is
know.
actually the first 101 since he left.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Condolences is in order.
I know. So now it's left to be seen, life without Messi at Barca. I mean, once Barca is not in the competition, where my support lies heavily behind, I would like to see him go on and win all the titles he could win as an individual, being the GOAT that he is.
Right.
But yeah, life without Messi at Barca has begun this season, and what a season it is. I mean, usually against Athletic Bilbao, we would see the little guy, get past 4 or 5 lines of defense and score the winner.
Yeah.
But, this time around, it wasn't meant to be. They come away with a draw. They almost lost that game because, Athletic Bilbao played so brilliantly. I mean, they pressured the Barca side. They know that. I think that a lot of these teams would know that Barca is weak.
Right.
I mean, without the king, you say, the team would be weak, right?
Yeah.
So, without him, they would know to attack and, try to hurt them. And that's exactly what they did. Inaki Williams. And their pace proved to be, resilient. And, they pressured Neto so much in the back that he made so much mistakes over the game that they kept the consistency there, and they got their goal. PK couldn't really handle the pressure. I mean, he got injured. The pace again. So it's a lot to be seen with this Barca side. I mean, Memphis got his goal.
But it looks to be like he's the only shining light. Really, you could really say as a Barca fan at this point.
There's Pedri who has been a gem.
Who has played over 80 games last year, so he needs a rest.
He's finally getting his rest now, though. But in terms of him being a quality player and, Frankie de Jong in the middle, these guys still work magic. And, Barca still plays with a system. Now, the final ball, before when teams could have predicted where it would have gone or have an idea as to which would be the target man. Now, there are so many players running into the box to finish off.
That's what I can't wrap my head around, because we've seen 2 games thus far for this season with Barcelona. And in those 2 games, neither of them has Griezmann really performed. And he has a Barcelona team now where Messi's not there, where he has, it basically is somewhat they could say built even around him.
Exactly. I've always voiced my opinion about Griezmann. I don't think that he was or is that Barca player or that player, that star player. Yeah, he might be that for France, but I don't think that he suits the Barca style as much. In his last game, people were always saying that, Messi has that role or Messi is occupying his space. I don't see that. Again, Messi's not there, and he had 0 chances on goal, 0 assists, 0 attempts. I mean, come on, this is a big game.
At least he's showing consistency.
Exactly, but I mean, Josh, we're talking about a Barca team that is going through a lot of financial problems. And
if somebody's getting paid over £600,000 a week, you at least expect somewhat of a performance.
Exactly, and that is basically what I think as a Barca fan, that, that is where the questions would lie. I mean, if this guy is earning so much more money, he was the second paid behind Messi, and now, Messi is not there. This is the season we expect him to, strap up his boots and, show us what he's really worth. Not only with him, but, a lot of players coming through that system, the Dembeles to come back, the Coutinhos that's still on the team. Koeman has a squad to work with, is if they would now fill the gap that, Messi has left.
Yeah, definitely. So, like we said, final score in this one was 1 goal apiece. Gerard Piqué actually went off injured in this game as well. So a lot of workarounds that Koeman has to do, especially in that defense, because we saw a Barca defense that didn't look too strong in this game. So let's move on to the next game, Real Madrid versus Levante. And Real Madrid as well, they dropped points this weekend. It was a 3 draw, in this matchup. A really entertaining game. Came down to the last minute. It looked as though Real Madrid wasn't going to get anything out of this game. But Super Sub came on, Vinicius Jr. He scored in the first game with Real Madrid this season off the bench, and he did it again this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, this is the season. Like we keep talking about these players that need to stand up for this and show the team their worth. Vinicius is really one of those players for Real Madrid. He needs to show that he can get the ball into the back of the net when it actually counts. He's great at breaking the lines. He's great at doing everything else, but it's the final product. And so far, so good this season. He has 3 goals in 2 games. Wonderful finishes from him for the 2 goals. They almost dropped all the points. If it wasn't for the post or if it wasn't for a better finish, you never know what could have happened. But, Real Madrid being Real Madrid, they never give up. They always battle until the 90th minute, 90th plus minute.
Yeah.
So, they kept going. And, they still have their squad. Ancelotti will be looking to impose his style of play. And we know he's familiar with a lot of these guys in the dressing room. And he would be looking to, push on and really challenge for the title. And they do have the squad for that.
Yeah, they do. I'm guessing with them and Barcelona, they kind of have a similar scenario here, like with Eden Hazard, big money player, and he too is just looking a bit lost in that Real Madrid team. Isn't performing the way that people would like him to.
Exactly, but he gave a wonderful assist in the first game, and then a strange player that we had seen at Real Madrid, Kit, got on the score sheet this weekend as well. The Gareth Bale is back in Real Madrid, and he has a good relationship with Ancelotti, so we'll be seeing more of him on the field for them. They also left a nice bid today in PSG for Mbappe.
Right.
I think it was over $180 million. So I'm not sure if PSG would accept it. I know that they have a mouth-watering front line.
Well, let's not talk about that, because I want to talk about that in the last segment of the show. So we won't touch on that yet. But as you said, Real Madrid, though, they have some concern in the defense, so too with Barca. I mean, any team that loses their main 2 centre-back pairings that has been there for the past 4 to 5 years will see some sort of, a learning curve that needs to take place.
Exactly, and it's not only just about the player, it's about the role of those players. That's the 2 captains that we're talking about that know the culture, know everything about the battles that the club have been through. Messi growing up through there, and Ramos being the pillar that he is for, and the legend that he is for Real Madrid. So, these are 2 big guys moving from the change room. It's a lot to process for them. They would get past it, though, that these clubs weren't built overnight. They have a legacy, and a lot of talented players will come and go through these clubs. But these guys that live in are just, great examples both on and off the field. So it's left to be seen what will be when they would rue it, if they would rue it in the Champions League, if they would rue it in the bigger games coming this season. But, it's all left to be said, and good luck to both teams.
Definitely. And so, is it safe to say, we saw Atletico Madrid, they were also in action, and they came away victors by 1-0 versus Elche. But is it safe to say that Atletico Madrid probably are the main title contenders this season in La Liga?
For sure. I think that they would just stick to their game plan. They would know how much points that they were accustomed getting at the end of the season. They are accustomed going out there and battling each game as it comes, going out there and scraping the victory, even if it's in the 90th minute.
Yeah.
Simeone likes that physical play, and he likes to, leave his style of football on the field. And I think that come the end of the season, they would have the majority of the points on the table. But you never know with what Ancelotti wants to do, or you never know what Koeman does with the Barca squad. That will make it an interesting 3-horse race at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they say 3-horse race, you never know. I think Sevilla might have something to say about that. So we're going to take a short break. Coming up after the break, we're going to head right back into some Premier League action with Liverpool in action versus Burnley. And a certain Manchester United just couldn't get past Southampton. We'll be right back after this.
You're watching ACTN, The Voice. Connect with ACTN The Voice on Facebook or Instagram at ACTN The Voice.
ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station.
Welcome back to Football 101. So as I mentioned before the break, let's talk Liverpool versus Burnley. Final score in this one is 2-0 in favour of the Reds. Sadio Mane on the score sheet and so too Jota. So Nikolai, in this starting lineup that we have seen thus far for Liverpool, a certain Firmino has been left out of the starting lineup, and he's come on in both games, but as a substitute. You think that's a good sign for Liverpool, or do you rather the Sané, Firmino and Salah?
I mean, Jota was on the score sheet twice.
Exactly, yeah.
So in both games, he is proven why he is
working.
Why he's there. I mean,
yeah.
It's not like Firmino is not getting a play. He was on the score sheet in the first game as well. And now, with 2 games gone, all 4 of them have opened their account in the Premier League.
Right.
So, I mean, from Klopp's perspective, that is exactly what you would want from all your strikers, barring 2 games into the season. All of them is off and running.
Yeah.
And now it's just a matter of filling them in and, knowing when each and every one of them could play, and depending on fitness and depending on how the run of fixtures go, depending on how form goes too, you never know how things would end up in the season. But I think this is exactly what Klopp would want, and he could justify exactly why Firmino is coming off of the bench and probably not in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see the leader in the back, Virgil van Dijk, back with Liverpool. We saw him in the first game of the season as well, and so far so good. 2 clean sheets.
Exactly. Once you have 2 clean sheets in the back and if you're forward moving the ball and creating chances and
he was involved in that. I believe it was the second goal. You saw him cross it across to the right wing, and it's nice to see him not only involved in the defensive play but in the goal scoring chances.
So Klopp is making sure his machine is getting ready to go. He's doing the little final tweaks. He's just doing the little oiling up for different players. Thiago will basically be seen much more this season as well. I believe that he will be introduced more, and I guess he would have that understanding and that chemistry more from training with these guys over the year. So you never know, he would be looking to make his stamp on the Premier League this season as well.
Definitely, and I just want to say shout out to Harvey Elliott as well, 18-year-old. He actually started this game. He's somewhat, you could say, the replacement for Ronaldo, and he had a really good game in this one. So final scoreline in this one, Liverpool 2, Burnley 0. We're going to move on to Manchester United versus Southampton. Final scoreline in this one was 1 goal apiece. And same old with United, they clear away teams one weekend, and then the next weekend it's total opposite.
I mean, is it that only 2 players have to be firing for this squad to be working, Josh?
Maybe.
I mean, you are the Man U expert, so you're supposed to, let us know what is going on with your side.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Pogba, 5 assists in 2 games.
Yeah. More assists than he got the whole of last season.
Exactly, and the season now starts. So is this a Pogba wearing a French jersey under his Man U jersey? You never know.
You never know.
But he is playing that kind of football, and Bruno, he got off to a great start, 3 goals in the first game, and this game, he didn't really score, but the squad is there. I mean, Ole knows what he has to do.
Well, I think the reason we did drew this one was because of Ole's mistake. He actually tinkered with the starting lineup. He brought on Martial. I'm not a fan of Martial. I've said it for years upon years. I wish we could just part our ways with him. But yeah, he brought on Martial. He brought on Matic in this game, and it just wasn't there. I'm guessing, he's trying to keep players happy. He will need to rotate, and Southampton was a squad that had a lot of their starting 11 missing. So I guess it was a safe chance, you could say, if you're bringing on Matic and Martial.
Exactly,
but it didn't work out.
Now is the part of the season where you have to try and trust these players and see what they have to offer. And maybe if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then okay, well, how you would adjust moving into the season.
Right.
I mean, seeing that, the Martials and, the Matic, how could they now be utilized within the squad, especially in the days when the star boys need rest?
Yeah.
And not only that, how can they still keep the style of play and, keep that identity while they are not on the field?
Yeah.
Is the best question.
Yeah, definitely.
If I could intervene here, With that handling game, I mean, you're a Man U guy. You have been quoting this guy, Jadon Sancho, for so long, paid so much money for him. Why not start him? I mean, he's proven to be a good player. I mean, you bring him on later on, yes, but what's the point?
Yeah, well, I guess Ole would say, it's 38 games in an entire Premier League season, so I guess he may take some time, but then again, you're looking at the likes of a certain Van der Beek that probably not even going to get a start now because with all these other likes. So, again, Ole, the Manchester United fan in me wants him to do good, but the realistic football fan thinks that this job just may be a little bit too much for him. But I guess time will tell. I mean, I know Sancho is going to get game time. But like I said before, I think it's just him trying to keep players happy.
So to Rafael Varane, because, he still has to make his introduction into the side, and you never know how his introduction would shape up the defense moving forward. So there are things left to be seen. He still has some final tweaks and turns that he still has in his bag. But I do think that this is his season to say whether or not he'll be staying on. He has to go directly for the title this time and try to win every competition that he's in with the squad. He has talent. He has experience now within that squad. So I think that now is the time for him to push forward and see exactly what he can do and challenge the top teams for that title.
Yeah, definitely. Without a trophy this year, the bosses at United are backing him. They wouldn't spend that amount of money on a manager and not have faith in him. So it's clear that they're giving him at least another year. But yeah, he has to deliver a trophy at the end of this season. So we're going to take a short break. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about Serie A. And I'm sure Jeremy Bridgenath has a plethora of things to talk about, seeing that he handles this segment. So we'll be right back after these messages.
You're watching ACTN, The Voice. Connect with ACTN The Voice on Facebook or Instagram at ACTN The Voice.
ACTN The Voice, your family-friendly station.
Welcome back to Football 101. So yes, let's talk Serie A. It started 1 week after the Premier League and La Liga and other leagues, but it has started. Let's talk Udinese versus Juventus. Jeremy, being that, yes, I know you're a Serie A fan, AC Milan fan to be exact, but the Udinese-Juventus game took most of the headlines this weekend. It finished 2 goals apiece, but the main talking point had to be CR7 and the fact that supposedly he said that he didn't want to start this game due to the fact that he wants a move away from Juventus. What can you tell us about this?
Well, it's interesting because Allegri said after that Ronaldo wants to stay, he's happy here. So I don't know if these are just rumors that are swirling around, but I'm wondering if it will affect the team mentally as well because obviously he's your superstar. He's one to carry the mantle for Juventus. That's why they brought him in for Champions League. With these rumors swirling around, him not starting, it added fuel to the fire. And, well, I really don't know what's going to happen. We just have to wait and see.
Definitely. And, I mean, the final score in this one was 2 goals apiece. So, I mean, I think it's safe to say that the Scudetto race is over and Juve is not winning it this year.
Well, I think most people will have Juve back because Max Allegri is back. He knows Juve. He has experience in Serie A. And let's not forget, Juventus still have a really deep squad. I think Dybala is one who could carry the team really far this season. Even if Ronaldo leaves, it's his chance to shine. They have Chiesa, a lot of other good guys in that squad that could take them far.
Definitely. And, well, we have to talk about the defending Serie A champions, Inter Milan. Now, I mean, we all thought at the start of the season, wow, if it's one team that really has it hard, it's Inter. Losing a coach, losing your main striker, and yet still they came away victors by 4-0 over Genoa.
Yeah. As a Milan fan, I was happy to hear that Lukaku was leaving. Hakimi was leaving. But you know what? This Inter side is still really, really deep.
Deep enough to defend their Scudetto?
I think it's possible. Simone Inzaghi is a really good coach. He was brought into Inter Milan because of his ability to manage a side without an exorbitant budget. And of course, that's the real reason that Inter have been selling their players and why they allowed Conte to leave, because they clearly weren't going to spend like they did over the last few years. So I think they found the right coach. We saw what he did with Lazio over the last few seasons. And it's going to be quite an interesting race this time around.
Definitely. And, you mentioned the managers, and we can't talk about Serie A without talking about a little Roma and a certain Jose Mourinho, who's in control down there. And he's not doing too bad, man. 3-1 victors over Fiorentina.
Yeah, I think Roma needed some stability. They've changed coaches over the last few seasons. They've made some good transfers. We have Tammy Abraham. We have Mkhitaryan, who is playing really nice football now. And we know Mourinho likes a certain brand of football. He demands a lot.
Yep.
I hope he doesn't bring this park the bus thing back to Serie A, because Serie A has changed.
That's all he knows. That's all he knows.
Well, with the players that he has, like Tammy Abraham, who could run, I think that might say something different about his thinking. Thinking back to what he did with Inter as well a few years ago.
Or maybe he might just, take it straight back to the roots and win the title based on his style of play. Because if it changed so much, maybe he just bringing back what he knows and might win it off of that.
Yeah, true. Never know. I guess time will tell. I mean, it's really nice to see a character that has that carries that much weight in Serie A as well. So, yeah, Roma has really good chance, as you mentioned. Tammy Abraham had a wonderful game, 2 assists in that game, so well done to Jose. But let's talk about your team, AC Milan. They were in action versus Sampdoria, and they got the 3 points, a simple 1-0 victory.
It was simple on paper, but when you looked at that game, I thought the first half AC Milan did really well. They played with a lot of energy, they were passing, they were flowing, but in the second half, Sampdoria took the game to them. And there are a few players on that squad that I think really needs to move out, but Milan, with their budget, their faith in Pioli, they think that what they have right now, they can get the job done, because Hakan Çalhanoğlu went to Inter, crosstown rivals, and they haven't found a proper central attacking mid. They have Brahim Diaz, but he's yet to prove himself. So we'll see how this goes.
Right.
It's going to be a really tight top 4 finish.
Definitely. As you mentioned, top 4. Who do you think? Do you think that Inter can really hold out and defend it? Or what are your thoughts on the top 4 race this season? Who's going to be in first place come next year?
I think Juve will take back their crown.
That's with Ronaldo or without Ronaldo?
With or without Ronaldo, I think Allegri has the experience. That squad has the depth. They have the experience, and they know what to do to win a title. Followed by Inter. Maybe Roma in 3rd. Milan 4th.
No faith in Milan, 4th place?
I mean, I would like them to win, but I have to be real at the same time. And what I'm seeing with Champions League football this time around, they'll be stretched.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there you have it for your Serie A wrap-up. Like I mentioned before, we're going to be talking a little bit of transfer talk now. Now, Nicola, you mentioned earlier that you said that PSG that Real Madrid made a bid for Kylian Mbappe. That was, how much money you said they were bidding for?
Around 180 euros.
Right. Okay.
So, with that, you never know. I'm glad you was asking him about, where he thinks Ronaldo would end up, because a lot of neutral football fans might push for the Mbappe to go to Real so that it clears way for a certain CR7 in that PSG squad. But I know Ronaldo came out and said that he was happy with where he is. He doesn't like his name being thrown around all these different places.
Yeah.
That, you know, he has set his career there and he still have some stuff that he'd like to see through. But you never know when the world of football talks and you know how money operates in this world of football.
Yeah.
Even though PSG would have the front line like I was expressing before, I mean, why would you not run that for one season and then let Mbappe go free next year? But at the same time, when you know that they have a lot of salaries to pay, they have a lot of wages to see about, and they got Messi, so you know maybe they can utilize the funds that Real Madrid will be offering, and Real Madrid knows that and knows that with Mbappe that they're so much stronger. So why not bring him over there and make their squad stronger?
Yeah.
So it's left to be seen. Like you said, there's 7 more days within this transfer window. There are a lot of things to happen. Yeah, I know you mentioned the Kane transfer before as well.
And I also even heard today that I think Manchester City, so again, within these 7 days, you're going to hear a lot of rumors. And the rumor is Ronaldo's actually pushing for a move to Manchester City. How that will work out, I'm not sure. Jeremy, all these talks, I mean, like I said, I think it's everybody's football dream. I mean, we're already going to see possibly this coming Sunday, Messi, first game for PSG. But I think every footballer's dream is really to see Messi, Neymar, well, not so much Neymar, but especially Messi and Ronaldo on the same team. Do you think that at the end of these 7 days that's even a possibility?
With the way this world is right now, it is a possibility. But something that, you know, I wanted to throw out to you guys. If you're the owner of PSG, would you do all you can to keep Mbappe? Or would you want to get Ronaldo on your side? Should I add an aging Ronaldo on your side? I mean, I think I'd take Mbappe because he has so much more to offer than Ronaldo at this point, especially with the squad that they have.
Yeah. No, if you have an unmotivated Mbappe, if the Mbappe does not want to play on the side and he was pushing for an exit and he slammed the door shut on his face, knowing that he would have been getting a different type of, I guess, salary, different things would have been mentioned in this contract now to, you know, stimulate his desire to move across. So, you know, maybe yeah, or maybe you would try to hold on to him if he wants or if he desires to stay.
Yeah.
But again, we know how PSG are, and they're resilient. They don't let players go no matter how much money you splash in front of their face. They would wait out their contract and even bench the player throughout the season.
I remember, I think it was in the press conference with Messi, they were actually talking to the owners of PSG, and he basically said, you know, Mbappe was always wanted to play for a team that is contending and the top tier teams, and he says, what more do you want? You have Messi in your team. So he basically put the onus on Mbappe, saying, no, we did our best. If Mbappe just does not want to be here, there's nothing they can do. And it's sad, yes, but at the same point in time, if I'm in Mbappe's shoes, why in heaven's name would I want to leave PSG? Play there for an entire year, and then if you really want to go to Real Madrid, it's always going to be there. It's not to say he's a Harry Kane where he's 28, 29. He's what, early 20s. He has more than enough time to go to Real Madrid. I even heard rumors saying that he wants to go Liverpool too. So
exactly. So more so, I believe that it's Real Madrid that is pushing for this offer because they can afford it now. They made way on their wage bill so that they can acquire him thus far for this season. They know come next season when he is a free agent, the amount of offers that he will have, and they never know what will be entailed in different places, and they never know how someone's desire might switch within that year. You never know what might happen this season with Real that might not make them look as though they are a team that he wants to go to.
Right.
You understand? So they might be the ones to push it through, to really go for it. But at the end of the day, if you're Mbappe, I mean, you want to be the star, I guess. And if Messi is there and the team does win the Champions League, who gets the Ballon d'Or, I think it would go directly to Messi, depending on how the stats go and depending on how the influence is.
Yeah.
So he would want to get away from that and basically make his stance and make himself known. And we also know that he is a huge fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. So maybe he does have that kind of, okay, Messi's here, but it does not really resonate with him per se. He has his own goals, so you never know. We talk about the Ronaldo going across. I mean, I think a lot of Ronaldo fans would like that because he would be adding to his Champions League titles. Messi might do it regardless with the squad that they have assembled there. I mean, Ronaldo is a beast no matter what his age is. He would be someone that Messi can find 2 feet above everybody else. I mean, that is just a cheat code right there. You put the cross in and Ronaldo is flying in and Neymar is right behind there sweeping up and Ramos is in the air too,
Wow.
So, this PSG side is really the Galacticos right now. It's left to be seen what they can do on the field in the big games. I know they really want that big-ish trophy come the end of the season.
Definitely, and they have a certain dilemma in between the goals because we saw Navas letting in a good bit of goals these past few days, and they have a certain Donnarumma in there as well. So it's going to be an interesting season to see how they even deal with the amount of egos that they have within this locker room. But we've come to the end of another episode of Football 101, guys. I want to thank you so much for being a part of it. Jeremy, Nikolai, you've done a wonderful job as usual. Don't forget you can check for the repeats of Football 101 every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And we're back here live next week, Tuesday at 9 p.m. My name is Joshua De Matos, and this has been Football 101, where we bring the field directly to you.